come today. It's very much appreciated. We are a small fan-run event. We don't expect to attract people really from very far beyond the Derby area, but we know that when we do these events once a year...
Doing a little web series called the Whovian Review, which is where we review every episode of Doctor Who for the next series, and hopefully that should just be some fun. So we're doing that at the moment.
And do people just Google or go into YouTube and put Whovian Review and will that find you?
Yeah, that should do. It's all listed, it's all tagged, and we have a Facebook page as well, and we post everything on there because we really, really like interaction with other Who fans.
You obviously were in the New Statesman.
Yes.
We were all very, very saddened to hear the sudden demise of Rick.
Devastating news, wasn't it? It really was.
What is your best Rick Mail story that you can actually tell in public?
Or even the best one you can't tell anyone. We won't tell anyone.
I think it was probably in the last series, in Belgium, I think we were, in Brussels, and he, and possibly we, were very, very drunk. And we'd had a last night, and we wandered into the red light district by mistake, I think.
Wandered?
It wasn't, we were there by mistake, and Rick was in one of those moods where he was saying yes to everything, you know, and this guy came up, you know, nudge, wink, wink, you know, that kind of guy, only, you know, in Belgium, and we were dragged inside this really seedy joint, and I sobered up almost instantaneously, but Rick didn't, and he was yeah, come on, and there were, you know, ladies coming out and saying, you know, would you like to buy a bottle of champagne for £150, you know, that kind of thing. That was the most dangerous time I've had.
It's all over the internet. Stuff like Netflix are making their own TV shows. It's just, no one watches TV. It isn't an event to sit down and watch television anymore. People do it whenever they like. And that has in turn changed the way that television has been made. Now it's more made to what we call the box set generation, where there's a through arc through every series. So yeah, you just want to watch one more episode each time one finishes. Given that that's the case these days, I just wanted to ask you, is it ever acceptable, do you think, to carpet a bathroom?
Only if it's got a floor.
Yes.
I agree.
Get after them now.
So have you been tempted to work for Big Finish at all, or even been approached by them?
No, not been approached to work, only approached to use our characters. But I mean, you know, I've got plenty of other work.
Did you know that Big Finish are also bringing back Omega in the Gallifrey series? Who's playing Omega?
I have no idea.
I just pressed the mic further down.
I understand Keith Floyd was inadvertently responsible for you getting into Doctor Who. How did that come about?
Well, I'll go back to my saying writing and sending. We met Keith in Bristol before he opened his restaurants, before he became a sort of big chef. And in his earlier life, he was in the army. He was in the Royal Tank Corps. And his story of his 2 years in it was absolutely amazingly funny, but sad as well, you know, a bit like Keith, really. Anyway, so we decided, Dave and I decided, that we would write his life story. And so we wrote a play called A Man's Life, because the advert used to be A Man's Life in the British Army. It used to be in the big posters. And we sent it off, didn't know who to send it to at the BBC, so we sent it to BBC London. And didn't know what would happen to it after that. And then a year later, almost to the day, we had a phone call from a chap called Trevor Ray, who said, oh, we've just seen your play, A Man's Life. Yeah? Oh, we love it. I think it's great. You know, well, it's really funny. I said, but come and meet us and talk about it. And we said, yeah. But I said, there's one thing, there's a real problem. You know, the tanks in it. I mean, they're so expensive to get tanks these days. I said, well, you know, we'll talk about it and see what we can come to. So this is when we were asked up there. We went there and we went immediately from reception to the bar, where they proceeded to get us really drunk. This was Trevor, and he's here today. Derek Sherwin and Terence Dix. And we were showered with gin and tonics until we were absolutely blotted.
Well, it's actually not far. Nottingham Playhouse.
That's where it was at Nottingham.
Yeah.
Can you remember who you were with at the time? Who was in it?
Brian Cox was in it. Who else was in it? Gosh. He's the only one that comes to mind, although there were quite a few others who have been around. David Horowitz was in it.
I think there's quite a bit of repertory theatre then, wasn't there? Which is lacking now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly dying away, really, because there's just not the money in it and the sort of grants needed to keep it going, which is a great shame.
251 on the white. Hey! It is our friends who are winning. Let's turn the lights out on us. Our thanks again go to all our guests and all our interviewers we've had today. It's made Whooverville the best ever. Don't go, we haven't told you when Whooverville 7 is. 5th of September next year. Excellent. You didn't hear that, 5th of September. I'm going to announce that in a minute. Okay, so where were we? Oh yes, so thanks. Guests, interviewers, everybody who's helped out during the day. We've had a number of people over the last week or so had to drop out through illness, ill health, all sorts of things. One of the people who was supposed to be doing the interviews here today wasn't able to do it last minute through illness. Somebody else was in strong doubt of being here at all today until recently. People have come away.